welcome back to those who serve, spending some time with some Marines that spent time in Vietnam. We got Thomas Payne, David Elliot, David Cantrell, and Leon Parks, and certainly appreciate that. We left off talking about Camp Geiger. Leon, you said something about how they treated you a little bit better. What was it you said there during the break?
Oh, no, you trained very hard there, and training's vigorous, but you went from scum to a trainee. Yeah.
You moved up a notch.
Well, you went way up now on the job list.
Yeah. Now, David said he got to, what's your memories of Geiger there, Dave?
That's like he said, they treated you a little better, and then you kind of knowed you as a Marine, and there's more training. Of course, we trained for Vietnam because that's where we was going. It was just strictly the infantry, you know. And they give us our MOS there, too.
I think I stayed there 6 weeks, and we got to do a lot more shooting, live targets, and, you know, it's more fun, you know, I mean. Still run every week. We got
trained your machine guns and all that.
Yeah,
the part I remember most was the talking about the training being hard. We went from really just a different kind of sand and a little deeper as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you walked in mud, where it just really drags you down. Up there, I mean, every time if you was running, your boots would go halfway to the top in sand, just loose sand, and it was real vigorous. I mean, it'd pull you down in a hurry.
Yeah, they selected that site just for y'all.
Oh yeah, that's what it's for. I mean, it was.
Now y'all did night maneuvers there. You learned to set up ambush, hasty, near, far, all like that.
Camouflage,
compass. Done everything. Stayed out all night sometimes.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed the little gas house. How about you boys?
Well, y'all remember about that? Everybody remembers the gas house. Now tell us a little about it. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember it. Pretty good.
You remember there? I mean, snot flying on the clean. It's true. I mean, that's the way it was.
Tear gas and it's a mixture of gas. I don't know what it is.
Clean them sinuses out.
It burned that throat, wouldn't it?
I guarantee it did.
The part I remember most, I mean, I remember the hurt of it. And you get
burning.
They lined us up around the walls, and it was when they closed the door, you could see the fog. It's just enough light through the cracks. You can see the fog in there. It's so thick as a mist. And we're going to take off our gas mask and start singing the Marine Corps hymn. I said, once you sing the first and last verse is all we want. So you open your mask up and from, that's it, And we had one guy over there. I mean, he's standing over there. And, I mean, you can't see anybody, but we started out. And when we come out, this guy come out in front of me. He was just normal. Nothing had happened to him. I mean, he was just like I am here now, nothing bothered him. And so we go down to, kind of get straightened up where we can see, get our nose and everything cleaned out, like you say. And the instructor picked him up. He just got him by the belt and back of the neck. He threw him back through the door and closed the door and held it. He'd run against this wall against that. He kept it. What he done, he got over in the corner and kept his gas mask on. He tried to skate through it, Mm-hmm. And I always figured he got a better dose of it than anybody else did.
We had a young guy. Just his mama works here, and said he'd just come out of the gas chamber last week. Said,
oh goodness.
Said some guy got in trouble because he ended up spitting in the DI's face. So you imagine how that flew. And all that stuff is to get you sort of acclimated and deal with certain adverse situations. Do you feel like they did a good job, Leon, getting you ready?
Oh, absolutely. That for the time limit they had and what we had, and like the gas chamber there, we call it the gas chamber, and I've already confessed to being a slow learner. I thought we were going to get an 8-week flu shot. It definitely cleared you out.
Yeah. I've never heard it called that, but I guess so. Yeah. Well, once you get through in Geiger, when you get down to the end of that, you said you got your MOS.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got found out what I was going to be doing.
And basically rifleman.
Well, I was old 331 machine guns, M60s.
So you was on the 60.
Over, but you learn how to use everything. But I started training on that then,
Now, and you got yours, which these boys would think you got a cush gig, but now, obviously, that you had distinguished yourself. What was your thoughts? Was there something that moved you towards that MOS, or did they just assign it to you?
No, really. Well, I really didn't have a choice. I mean, I just going either air wing or the grunt side, they call it. You know, infantry side of the air wing. Once I went there, I think it was 6, 7 weeks at Lejeune or Geiger, whatever. And then when I left there, I went to Memphis, Tennessee. And that's where I went, took all these tests and do all this stuff, and they decided what you was best suited for. So you had 3 choices. I could have been an aircraft mechanic or a crash crew or firefighter, you know, on plane, or you worked in launch and recovery, and I wanted to do that. So just work on runway. And that's when I decided there, and then they sent me to Lakehurst, New Jersey. That's where I went to school in.
Now, so you as an 0331 stayed, would you Lejeune, or did you end up going out to West Coast?
After I finished my ITR training, came home for 30 days, went to California. And I had a place set up in California like Vietnam, big village. So we trained out there for about 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And we went on to Vietnam then.
Now, Leon, for you spent some time in Marine Recon, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Horno Canyon after Camp Geiger and stayed out there. That's at Camp Pendleton. It's out in the center of Camp Pendleton, and from there they send you to different schools and whatnot. And I went down to San Diego for comm school, and even though it's 311, I've come up with I had an MOS of they call it a 2531. You get the privilege of carrying a little radio on your back and at certain times, and so that faction of the Marine Corps, they train in different things and stuff like that. So you have your amphib training, your water survival and whatnot like that. But it's real good. I had a ball.
Yeah. So now Pendleton, you ended up out at Pendleton. Where did you end up at going for communications school?
Well, they didn't give me but 15 days. All they gave me after ITR, I got 15 days. And 15 days had to report back to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, for a military flight, which we reported back in. They had about 4 or 5 DC-8s come in there and picked us up, took us to Camp Pendleton School Battalion. Went to School Battalion, Camp Pendleton, California, which I went to a lineman wireman school. And so we climbed the poles and wired in the switchboards of communication, just straight communication station. So went from there to, I was like Leon, they sent me down to Camp Horno Valley, to Charlie Battery, 3rd Battalion, 13th Marines. And we, once I got there, they had to have artillery FO teams. You put a 4-man team, put a 4-man team with every infantry company. So we had 4 4-man teams. So I got kicked in on one of them. Ended up cross-training radio and carrying radio for an artillery FO team. So I was with Mike Company, 3rd Battalion, 26th Marines, there at, Horno. Horno. You boys out on.
Let me get you hold up.
Bluff. Yeah.
We're going to go away to a break now, folks. We're having a good time, so don't go far. We'll be right back to those who serve. Welcome back to those who serve. Been spending some time with these fine fellas and veterans of the Marine Corps during the Vietnam era, and every one of them ended up over in Vietnam. And friends from Gilmer County, as boyhood friends, raised out around the same area. Now, when we left off, David was telling us about being assigned to an FO team. The interesting thing is, just because you start off as like an 0331 or in a certain MOS, it's funny how things kind of move around the way the big green machine wants it to. Oh, yeah. So you ended up in a FO team.
Yeah, I ended up, I was a wireman, cross-trained in radio, and then cross-trained, and you were, let's see, you was out on White Cliffs there. What's it called? White Cliff, was it?
Horno Canyon.
Horno Canyon, yeah, on the cliffs. And we was out at, let's see, what's the name? Cone Hill, firing artillery. So went through all that training, you know, in other words, if you was out there, you had a lieutenant, you were supposed to have a lieutenant and a probably E5, and then whatever your rank was on your 2 communicators in. But you had to be able to do it all. You know, you had to be able to call in artillery. I called in naval gunfire one time while I was over. I had to call.
But
call
most
in
time
16 inches
105?
at one time. Most time 105. We had 3 155s once we got up case on. We had to have to reach out as far as we was working out, you know. But yeah, we could call in. You know, we could call in airstrikes as far as that goes. But we had to, you know. In other words, we couldn't. I couldn't directly call an airstrike. I had to go through the FDC to get it.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And we'll get back to the FDC. That's interesting. Now, tell us a little about Recon. You hear lots of folks, when they start in, you are the elite. You're out there in front, the eyes and ears. How did they teach you on that stuff?
Not really. You're not the elite because every man's Marine, every man's trained the same way. And
We are the elite.
they cross-train you in things, and that's about the sum of it, Russell.
Really?
You get cross-trained and maybe get a little more training, but they's in different fields, and that's about it.
Now they did a lot of training in gathering intelligence, that sort of side of it, because that's really, you were out there trying to gather that intelligence side.
Yeah, usually reliable source.
Hopefully these two eyes got
And that
it.
don't mean nothing.
Yeah. Now, we was joking during the break now, because everybody not only is a rifleman, but they got to be cross-trained as to use radio. And we were laughing about the radios and PRC 25s, what y'all carry.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know what they use today. I know what we used to use. But did y'all remember getting cross-trained in that sort of thing? Never had to.
Never did. I did.
Now I don't. But as a 0331, you had an A gunner. Did you start off as an A gunner, or what?
Yeah. When I first got to Vietnam, got signed to my company and platoon and all that, I was a A gunner. And then it wasn't long I took over because the other guy got gone.
Yeah.
I think he rotated back though.
Well, that's a good way to go back, not the way.
I was gunner for about 3 months, I guess. And I made fire team leader. And then he left, and I made squad leader.
Yeah.
I was squad leader about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
Didn't know nothing. They just said, you squad leader.
Yeah, you had to do the best you can. Now, when you got your training finished up, you said you ended up Beaufort, South Carolina?
I left New Jersey and come to Beaufort.
Yeah. What are your memories of New Jersey for a fella that's not really done a whole lot of traveling? What do you remember about that?
I guess the boardwalk, going up and down it, you know, and the Empire State Building. We went to New York, and got to go see Yankee games.
Is that
right? That was a big deal.
Yeah. You still like them?
Didn't
No,
like
they
them,
don't
still
but y'all got a little off-leave time.
Yeah, we was out. When I got there in school, we was in the regular Marine Corps. Went to school 40 hours a week, and weekends off, you know, I mean.
Pendleton, was it basically the same, you trained through the week, or did you get some time off, or how was it?
It was funny. Sometimes you train, several weeks, and then you get Liberty, get a weekend Liberty, and like I say, it's a little different. We were out in the canyon. It was a long way out to civilization, kind of.
They knew to keep y'all separated, didn't they? Troublemakers.
So we'd have weekend leave as long as I was in school battalion. But once I come out of school battalion, I went to I trained. We was part of the 3rd Battalion, 26th Marines, and we was trained as a regimental landing team to go to Vietnam. And we got from Saturday. If everything went real good, we got from Saturday noon till Sunday. They wouldn't give us till Monday morning. A lot of outfits give us. We had to be in by 8:30, something like that on Sunday afternoon. On the West Coast there. But we was, most your Liberty would be at like from Horno, where we was at. San Clemente, California, was a lot closer than going on down to Oceanside and all this. So we most of my time spent in San Clemente when I was on leave.
Now, when you was on leave, I know, and especially around a military post, they had some pretty strict rules. The law was pretty strict about certain things, and Any stories y'all want to tell about being out on leave that we can tell on this camera?
I don't.
I forgot all that.
Notice how we got convenient amnesia right there. Well, I'll tell you this now, as far as once you got down and you finishing up, you knew, when did you get your orders to go over the pond? You remember?
Yeah, when I got out of ITR.
So you already knew you was headed,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
headed to
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
You knew already.
I don't remember who told us, but the whole bunch I was with, that's where we was headed.
Yeah.
They told us we'd go home for 30 days, report out to San Diego, and went out there and trained for them 4 or 6 weeks, and we didn't come home no more. That was it. We'd done been home 30 days, and then flew to Japan and Da Nang,
All right.
and then went on to I went to 2-4.
All right. We're going to have to go to a break, so y'all stay tuned. We're going to be right back to those who serve.